Hi guys, it's Emerald. Thanks for all your positive response to my Halloween story. I've had a blast making it. And thanks to Webkinz for featuring it on KinzTube. Now hold on to your seats because here's part 2 of the quest for the freaky forest, the haunted hotel. Oh, and please keep those comments coming. Once the 4 friends agreed it had been the best Halloween ever. Now they were not so sure. Yes, the quest for the freaky forest was spooktacular and the haunted house party a blast. But now they were lost and it was dark.
This way,
pointed Woods, though he had no idea where he was leading them. But all they found were trees and more trees. Suddenly, a witch riding a broomstick appeared.
You guys look hopelessly lost.
She said.
Not really.
Mask offered unconvincingly.
The freaky forest gets a lot freakier after midnight.
She informed them.
You guys need to get indoors.
And with that, she flew off and disappeared in the dark. But where would they find shelter in such a place on such a night?
Guys, I see a light!
Rain exclaimed. There was, in fact, a light shining from far off in the forest. Rain led the others toward it. They came through an opening in the trees and arrived at an elegant, beautifully lit building. Forest Hotel, they read above the front door.
Oh, thank goodness. I hope they have room service.
Rain sighed in relief. She was first up the front steps. The others followed, wondering. The lobby of the hotel was even more elegant than its exterior. A gorgeous fountain splashed near the seating areas, surrounded by lush potted plants. They walked in the grand entrance between beautifully carved columns.
"Welcome to the Forest Hotel. Enjoy your stay,"
said Churchill, the doorman. Rain approached the front desk, where the receptionist said,
"Will you be needing a room for the night?"
"2, please,"
replied Rain.
"Excellent. Winston will show you to your rooms."
The bellhop waved them toward the elevators. Autumn and Rain were thrilled with the Forest Hotel. Even the upstairs hall was fancy. But Woods and Mask were not so sure. They had exchanged worried looks in the elevator, and now they put their heads together as they followed the bellhop down the hall.
"This place is too good to be true,"
whispered Mask.
I was thinking the same thing.
Woods whispered back. The friends reached the girls' room. The boys bid them goodnight.
Lock your door,
Woods said softly to Autumn as he left, and she nodded slightly. Autumn did lock the door. She might be impressed by the charms of the Forest Hotel, but she wasn't careless. And she had no doubt that something about this place seemed a bit off. It was almost as if they had been expected. Rain was still running around the room, exclaiming over everything. The posh furnishings, crystal chandeliers, and even a continental breakfast already set out for them on a trolley were all duly admired and appreciated. At last, the girls collapsed on the comfy beds and fell into exhausted slumber so quickly that they did not hear the clock strike 1. Meanwhile, Woods and Mask had been having a serious conversation in their room.
"Something's just not right,"
Mask finished.
Agreed,
said Woods.
but at least we're indoors, and it's only a few hours till morning. Try to get some sleep.
The boys had found their room more to their liking than the girls' elegant suite. It had handsome, comfortable wood furnishings and a stone fireplace that made the room cozy.
"And that's another thing,"
Mask stated as he went to bed. "The fire was already burning well when we got here. It's like they knew we were coming or something." Woods grumpily agreed and prepared to stand the watch. But an uncanny wave of sleepiness washed over him, and he lay down for just a moment and did not hear the clock strike 2. The girls were awakened out of a sound sleep by a jangle of musical instruments, combined with the bong of the clock striking 3. They found themselves lying on the hard floor. Rain tried to turn on the lights but couldn't find the switch. Suddenly, the room was lit by flaming candles that definitely had not been there before. Other things had changed too. Their beds were gone. The furniture was covered with old sheets and there seemed to be no power.
"And a lot of dust. Achoo!"
The wallpaper was peeling and the floorboards were bare. And the continental breakfast had seriously gone off. All of this was too much for the two, who ran out into the hall. Woods and Mask had been jarred awake at the same moment, and their eyes were met with a similar scene. Their room looked like it probably should be condemned. Their cozy stone fireplace had taken on an eerie green glow that looked radioactive. Things looked even worse when the creepy candles lit themselves. Even the wall art has turned creepy. And who or what did those eyes peering from the cracks in the walls belong to? What was that smelly green slime oozing out from under the—
"Wait, are those coffins?"
asked Woods. The boys didn't wait for an answer. They rushed out into the hall, crashing into the girls. Things were no better in the hall. The soda machine and the clock had somehow turned into—
"More coffins,"
yelled Mask.
"Yeah!" No!
Rain shrieked. The girls were frazzled. The boys were freaking. The four friends ran for the elevators, but they were blocked and entirely out of order.
We can't get out that way,
Shouted Woods.
Better take the stairs!
Called Autumn as she headed for the stairwell. They started down the rickety spiral staircase, but the steps were rotted through. One by one, they slid down the banister. Rain came last, and just before she reached the bottom, a trap door opened, and in she fell. Woods grabbed her by the forepaws and managed to pull her out seconds before the trap door slammed itself shut.
Let's get out of here!
Woods yelled, and they scrambled frantically through the door. The once glamorous lobby looked like no one had been there for centuries. The walls were crumbling, and the sparkling fountain was silent, its water stagnant. It appeared that the roof had been leaking, or was it the plumbing? And there was more green slime. Gross! But as they passed the front desk, the worst thing of all happened.
Leaving us so soon?
Inquired the ghostly receptionist, appearing out of thin air. The four friends nearly jumped out of their skins and stampeded between the now disintegrating columns and out the formerly grand entrance of the Forest Hotel into the night. As Woods, Autumn, Mask, and Rain tumbled down the front steps, they heard behind them the most appalling sound. A rumbling, crashing, tearing, collapsing, crushing sort of sound. They turned around and stopped still in amazement. Where once had stood the elegant Forest Hotel, there now was nothing. Nothing at all. It was as if the hotel had consumed itself. The four friends stared at each other. The forest was silent as a grave.
What now?
Asked Autumn.
Not what, who, said someone.
They turned to see a stone column that had not been there a moment before. On top of the column was a carved owl that looked more like a gargoyle. It blinked.